Former President Donald Trump scheduled to appear in a D.C. courtroom. This is tomorrow afternoon, albeit by Zoom or in person. We're still working to find that out following the indictment on the January 6th investigation. And here are the counts.
That's right. You see him on your screen. Trump facing 4 new criminal charges: conspiracy to defraud the U.S., conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of and attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. For more on this, let's welcome in Professor Emeritus at Harvard Law, author of the book Get Trump, and Newsmax legal analyst Alan Dershowitz. Professor, welcome back to National Report. Just your overall read on the charges and what we could expect from Trump's defense.
Well, these charges don't meet the standard that ought to be applicable when the Attorney General of the United States authorizes a prosecution against the man running against his boss. That's Banana Republic, and the case has to be the strongest possible case when you go after the president's chief rival, who is tied with the president in recent polls at 44%. It ought to have smoking guns, and this indictment just doesn't have that. It depends completely on the subjective state of mind of Donald Trump. They're going to have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that he actually believed that he had lost the election and did all the things he's accused of doing despite that belief. But I've seen no evidence, either in the indictment or from what I've seen, that would allow the government to prove that, other than by inference, circumstantial evidence, speculation. Basically, what the indictment says is he should have known that he lost. People told him he lost, but it really can't seem to prove that he believed it. And it just doesn't meet the standard. The standard should be very, very high when you're going after the incumbent president's opponent. Otherwise, we start getting close to Banana Republic. That's where presidents prosecute their political opponents, and that's not what we want in America. Look, I voted against Trump twice. I have a constitutional right to vote against him a third time. You have a constitutional right to vote either for him or against him. Sure. And that right shouldn't be denied by prosecutors and by his political opponents.
Professor, how likely is it, in your opinion, and it's very early, but there are many charges that the former president is facing and potential ones down in Georgia. How likely is it that the former president sees jail time in your mind?
I think very unlikely. I don't think the Supreme Court would ever sustain the New York indictment, which is a joke. I don't think they will sustain most of the charges in this indictment. The Georgia indictment, which is probably forthcoming, is based on a at least ambiguous phone call where he said find votes. He didn't say manufacture them. He said find them. The Florida case is the strongest case, but it's not a jail time case. It's a case involving classified material of the kind that Hillary Clinton probably possessed, of the kind that Sandy Berger possessed, President Biden possessed, Vice President Pence. So I don't think we're seeing jail time. Can you imagine a situation where he gets jail time and he's forced to surrender and then he wins the presidency? And he has to serve from not the Oval Office, but the Iron Bar office. You couldn't even get a novel published saying that. It seemed so absurd. Of course, the framers never considered the possibility that you have a president running for office who is under indictment or is actually serving time. I don't think we're going to get to that.
Yeah, it's unimaginable. And yet GOP candidates who want Trump's former job have been asked, what are they going to do? Would they pardon the president again if he were to be convicted? A lot of people weighing in, again, on the GOP side saying, yes, they would, again, to prevent that image.
You can't pardon him on the state charge. If he's convicted on the New York charge, the president of the United States has no authority to pardon. He can only pardon from federal charges.
All right. Clear distinction there. Professor Dershowitz, thank you very much for joining us with your insight. Appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.